Coach Fisch, appreciate you taking the time in game week, filming this on Tuesday. So you got a big rivalry game this weekend against Oregon. But I want to start with year one at Washington for you. You took over a roster that really was depleted when you got there. A lot of guys that left went to the NFL after the national championship appearance last year. How has year one been for you versus maybe your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a unique year. We had one returning starter. 16 of the guys that played in the national championship game are in the NFL right now. 8 others probably had transferred out before we arrived. So it's a lot of newness, but there's been some great accomplishments in year one. Really proud of our team being undefeated at home. Proud of our team beating Michigan, UCLA, USC. Just excited for where we're headed.
I was going to ask you about the being 6-0 at home. I mean, Husky Stadium, I think one of the most underrated environments in the country. The Washington fan base has been awesome from what I've seen on social media, the way they pack that stadium. How's that fan base been in year one for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been 20 in a row at home. We've won 20 games in a row, second behind Georgia. In terms of, a winning streak right now. Our fans have been fantastic. They've shown up. It didn't matter if it was a Friday night against UCLA or a Saturday primetime game against Michigan or against SC, and even early in the season. I mean, we've had just great crowds. Our kids have played in front of some of the amazing environments, and then on the road, our guys have experienced some amazing environments as well, stuff that you don't really see in the Pac-12.
What are your top priorities as you took this job to build a consistent winner at Washington? What were we had a great conversation, a year or two ago when you were at Arizona about the things you were doing there. So when you got here, what were the things that you're like, we got to do these 2 or 3 things right away to build a winner?
Yeah, well, the first thing we had to do was invest in the program. There was a lot of there hasn't been a consistent head coach here for, a bunch of years now. There's been 4 head coaches and 3 athletic directors in the last 6 years. Yeah. When you have that type of turnover, it's very hard to get the program really in a consistent place. You could have great years, but it's hard to stay consistent. So we had to invest in facilities. There's been, probably 10 to 12 years of not real investment in the facilities. So we put about $20 million in the 10 months we've been here, similar to what we did at Arizona in that regard. The second thing we did was invested in nutrition. That was a huge thing that I thought was super important. Doubled the nutrition budget in the 1 year we've been here. Wow. And then, need to get big and big players in here. High school recruiting. It's been a, kind of an inconsistent cycle when you have so many coaching changes, and we have players on our team that was recruited by Chris Peterson, players on our team recruited by Jimmy Lake, players on our team recruited by Kalen, and now me. We feel like we have to get this thing grounded again, and to do that, we really needed to commit to high school recruiting, and we're looking to try to sign 30 players here a week from Wednesday.
Wow. Pretty unique for you to take over a head coaching job in year one while also moving to the Big Ten in year one. You guys have some big wins, as you mentioned, on the Big Ten schedule, beat USC, beat Michigan. But what were some of the challenges of having the Big Ten schedule in year one, the cross-country travel for some of those games?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a lot of uniqueness of taking over a program in year one and then add to it when you're adding a new conference into it. And the difference between the Pac-12 conference and the Big Ten conference is an enormous difference, right? It's not just a small difference. So, and then when you add the travel, we're now a national conference. We've played at Penn State, at Rutgers, at Iowa, at Indiana. So those 4 road games, one was on a short week on a Friday night, one was a whiteout on a Saturday night, and 2 were 9 a.m. body time for our players. Both noon and 11 a.m. kickoffs. So we really are trying to go through this process of using year one as a learning curve. And, are we better off going 2 days in advance, or are we better off going 1 day in advance? Are we better off practicing in the morning or practicing in the evening? There's so many parts to this now that we're a national brand and a national program in this national conference that, aside from the simple things of, if you don't win in the trenches in this conference, you're not going to win. So you're not looking to outscore opponents like we did in the Pac-12 and like we did at Arizona a year ago, and like we did like they've done at Washington the last couple of years. It's a defensive conference, and it's a run game conference, and it's a bad weather conference, and you have to be prepared for all of it.
Yeah. When we talked previously, we talked a lot about the big picture of college football, NIL, the challenges, the advantages you can get with NIL and the portal and everything. I wanted to ask about, with revenue sharing coming down the pipe in college football, are you optimistic about the future of college football? Do you feel like there's still some things to figure out? What's your overall mindset about the future?
Yeah, I mean, I love college football, so I'm overly optimistic. I'm as big of a fan of college football as I am a coach. I know that we're going to be entering into a new world order of how to handle the programs. I hope that there's some guardrails to allow players to continue to build their resiliency and not feel as if every time there's a hiccup, they might look somewhere else.
Yeah.
But on the same token, I'm really excited about trying to even the playing field, and for us to be able to fully invest in our revenue share program like we're going to here at Washington. Hopefully the guardrails up, some programs not spending an enormous amount of money versus others would be able to continue to not allow, the discrepancies at times of personnel. But I also believe now you can see it. You can see why so many games go so many different directions is because guys that were backups don't want to be backups. They want to go start somewhere else. So college football Saturdays are amazing. Our fans, and I don't just mean Washington, I mean fans of college football have to understand that it's not just about the logo anymore. It's about the players. And you're going to see a lot of logos that have losses that they used to not have losses.
Yeah. I was looking at the turnaround you had at Arizona in year one, went 1-11 there, ended up going 10-3 by your final season there. And it was really impressive what you did in a short amount of time. Is there anything in year one here at Washington, maybe a game that you guys played or a moment in a game that makes you really optimistic about the future where you said, we got something here?
I mean, yeah, I'm very optimistic about the future. I think that we're right now, we're somewhere where we were year two at Arizona. In a 3-year build, we went from, a 1-11 to 5-7 to 10-3, and won the last 7 in a row there. I feel as if, we're very close to moving that year 2 to year 3 model. Finished the season 2-1 in year 2, and then started the season and went 10-3 there. So that 16-game run of being 12-4, I really feel good about where we are in our program now. And I think that with the young guys we have, with the Damon Williams of the world and Adam Muhammad's of the world and Becker DeGraff and Kamari House and all these freshmen that we're playing, that will lead us to the type of success we want to have.
Yeah. With how college football is moving more and more over the past couple of years to a pro model, is there anything about your NFL experience that you feel like has really prepared you for this?
I mean, I do believe that there's a little bit of a differentiator when you talk about guys that have had a chance to coach in the NFL or in our situation, I've coached there for 15 years. And the amount of relationships you build during that time gives you, a lot of resources. You can make a lot of phone calls. You can rely on relationships to help you in this time of flux of like asking for some guidance and some assistance. Having Steve Belichick as our defensive coordinator, Brennan Carroll as our offensive coordinator, line coach. These are guys that I rely heavily on as we're making decisions with revenue share. And, Steve, the only thing he knows is the NFL, right? Yeah. So he's coached in there for 13 years, and then his dad is his dad. For Brennan, 6 years in the NFL as a coach, and then his dad is his dad, as we know. So these are a lot of great resources that we have. John Lynch's son is on our staff as a graduate assistant. Yeah. So to be able to pull those resources and get answers is really helpful.
You have a young quarterback on your roster. You mentioned him, Damon Williams, who I watched some of the tape. I mean, looked really good against UCLA, went 7 of 8 and a touchdown. I thought he looked good against Penn State at the end of that game. What have you seen from him? I mean, I think he's a guy that, and I'm sure you agree, that could be the future of the quarterback position for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% see D as our, the face of this franchise, the face of this program for the next 3 years. And I'm excited to watch us grow with him. I'm excited for him to have another off season. He didn't get here till April of last year because of, the way the rules worked. And, so we haven't even had him for a full year. He hasn't been in our weight room, our nutrition program. I recruited him when I was at Arizona and bring him with us. And I think he's going to be a sensational player. He's a very confident player. He's got all the skills you could ever ask for in terms of not just his accuracy, but also his running ability. And in this day and age of college football, if you can have a quarterback that can win in the pocket and out of the pocket, gives you a great chance.
Yeah. Coach, last question for you. You got a huge matchup against Oregon this weekend, number 1 team in the country, big rivalry game. What are your keys to victory in this one?
We got to do a lot of things right, They're the number 1 team in the country for a reason. And it's not like you're the number 1 team in the country week 3 of the season. The number 1 team in the country week 12 of the season or week 14, whatever we're in. So, they haven't lost the game. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. So for us, we've got to force them to be out of their comfort zone. We've got to force them to turn the ball over. We've got to get them to make some mistakes, and then we have to play as pretty close to mistake-free football as we can to beat a team that's playing at the level they're playing at right now.
Awesome. Coach, good luck this weekend. Always great talking to you, and good luck as you build Washington.
All right. Thanks for the invitation, man. Take
Thanks,
care.
Coach.